You hear things break outside. Windows. You can hear sheets of glass collapsing. Or windows being broken on a smaller scale, or bottles dashed on cement thrown hard. Or trash cans emptied out and hurled against a cement wall, or you hear yelling, a man's voice, threat, a woman's voice, pain, or you hear screams and you hear sirens. There are explosions. Maybe there are gunshots, maybe not. And you hope it's not coming after you, or too near you. You don't know. And so you wait. Just wait. Though every second of the night, through every second of the night, you wait for the night to end. I spend the change I can find on cigarettes and orange juice. I think as long as I am drinking orange juice, I am healthy. I think orange juice is the key to life. I drink a quart at a time. It has all these millions of vitamins. I like vodka in my orange juice, but I can't get it. Only a drink at a time from a man here and there. But I leave out the orange juice, because I can do that myself. I just get the vodka straight up, nothing else in the glass taking up room, because it's greed, because I like rocks. I never had enough money at one time to buy a bottle. I love looking at vodka bottles, especially the foreign ones. I feel excited and distinguished and sophisticated, and a part of a real big world when I have the bottle near me. I think the bottles are really beautiful. And the liquid is so clear, so transparent. To me, it's like liquid diamonds. I think it's beautiful. I feel it connects me with Russia and all the Russians. And there is a dark melancholy as well as an absolute joy when I drink it. It brings me near Chekhov and Dostoevsky. I like how it burns the first drink, and after that, it's just this splendid warmth, as if hot coals were silk sliding down inside me, and I get warm, my throat, my chest, my lungs, the skin inside my skin. Whatever the insides of my skin is, it clings inside me. My grandparents came from Russia, my dad's parents. I try to think they drank it, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have. They were just ghetto Jews. It was probably the drink of the ones who were persecuting them and drove them into running away. But I don't mind that anyway, because now I'm in America, and I can drink the drink of the Cossacks and the peasants if I want. It soothes me. I feel triumphant and warm and happy, too. I have this idea about vodka, that it's perfect. I think it is perfect. I think it is beautiful and pure, and filled with absolute power, the power of something absolutely pure. It's completely rare, this perfection. It's more that the pain dies, or that it makes you magic. Yeah, you soar on it, and you get wise and strong by drinking it. And it is a magnificent lover, taking you whole. But I just love being near it in any way, shape, or form. I would like to be pure like it is. Like it is. And I'd like to have only pure things around me. I wish everything I'm near or I touch could be as perfect. I feel it's very beautiful. And if I ever die, I wouldn't mind having a bottle of it buried with me if someone would spring for it. One bottle of Stoli 100 proof in honor of me and my times forever. I drink it slow, over time. It'd make the maggots easier to take, that's for sure. It does that now. They aren't all maggots, of course. I've been with people who matter. I've been with people who achieve something in life. I want excellence myself. I want to attain it. There's this woman married to a movie star, and they are damn nice, damn rich. And they take me places, to parties and dinners, and I eat dinner with them at their house sometimes. And she calls me and gets me in a cab, and I go with her. I met her because I was working against the Vietnam War some more. I got back to New York in November 1972. It was a cold winter. I had nothing, was nothing. I had some stories I was writing. I slept on the floor near someone's bed in a rented room. Nixon bombed a hospital in North Vietnam. All these civilians died. I couldn't really stand it. I went to my old peace friends and I started helping out. Demonstrations, phone calls, leaflets, newspaper ads. The tricks of the trade don't change. I had this idea that important Americans, artists, writers, movie stars, all the glitz against the war should go to North Vietnam sort of as voluntary hostages, so either Nixon would have to stop the bombing or risk killing all of them. It would show how venal the bombings were, and that they killed Vietnamese because the Vietnamese were nothing to them, just nothing. And it was morally right to put yourself with the people being hurt. Inside yourself, you felt you had to stop the war. Inside yourself, you felt the war turned you into a murderer. Inside yourself, you couldn't stand the Vietnamese dying because this government was so fucking arrogant and out of control. There was a lot of us who never stopped thinking about the war, despite our personal troubles. Sometimes it was hard not to have it drive you completely out of your mind. If you let it sink in how horrible it was, you really could go mad and do terrible things. So I got hooked up with some famous people who wanted to stop the war. Some had been in the peace movement before, some just came because of the bombings. We wanted to stop the bombings, we wanted to pay for the hospital, we wanted to be innocent of the murders. The U.S. government was an outlaw to us. The famous people gave press conferences, signed ads, signed petitions. Some even did civil disobedience. I typed, made phone calls, the usual shit work. But I also tried to push my ideas in. The idea was to use their fame to get out anti-war messages and to get more mainstream opposition to the war. Hey, I was home. Only in America. One day, this woman came into where we were working to help, she said. Was there anything she could do to help, she asked. She was as disreputable looking as me, or more so. She looked sort of like a gypsy boy or some street waif, and they treated her like dirt, so condescending. Which was how they treated me. Exactly. And it turned out she was the wife of this megastar, so they got all humble and started sucking. I had just talked to her like a person from the beginning, so she invited me to their house that night for dinner. It turned out it was her birthday party, but she didn't tell me that. I got there on time and no one else came for an hour, so her and me and her husband talked a lot. And they were nice, even though it was clear I didn't understand. I wasn't supposed to show up yet. She took me places, all over, and we caroused and talked and drank, and once when he wasn't home, she let me take this elaborate bath, and she brought me a beautiful glass of champagne in the tub. Then he came in. And I don't know if he was mad or not, but he was always real nice to me. Nothing was going on, and there was no bath or shower where I lived, though I was ashamed to say so. I had to make an appointment with someone in the building to use theirs. It kept me alive for a while, though they couldn't have known it. I ate when I was with them. Otherwise I didn't. My world got so big. Parties, clubs, people. It was like a tour of a hidden world. Once she even took me to the opera. Never was there before. She bought me a glass of champagne and we stood among the ladies in gowns on red velvet carpets. But then they left. And I knew some painters, real rich and famous. One of them was a lover of a girl I knew. He befriended me, like a chum, a sort of brother in some ways. He just acted nice and invited me to places where there were a lot of people. He didn't mind that I was shy. He talked to me a lot. He seemed to see that I was overwhelmed, and he didn't take it wrong. He tried to make me feel at ease, tried to draw me out. I sort of wanted to stay away from places, but he just tried to get me to come forward a little. In some ways, he seemed like a camp counselor organizing events. Now we hike, now we make purses. I'd go drinking with all these painters in their downtown bars, and he had plenty of money, and it wasn't a matter of tit for tat. They just kept the drinks coming. Never seemed to occur to them to stop drinking. I knew his girlfriend who was a painter. At first, when I met him, I had just got back. I was sleeping on floors. I slept on her floor some nights when he wasn't there. She was all tortured about him. She was just all twisted up inside, but I never understood why. She was pretty incoherent. We drank, we talked about him, or she did. She didn't have any other subjects. There was no sexual feeling between him and me, and he acted cordial and agreeable. We went on a bus with some other people. They knew, to New Hampshire for Thanksgiving. I think he paid, but I wasn't sure. I didn't have any money to go, but they wanted me to go. They had friends there. We went on the Greyhound bus, and they let us off somewhere in Vermont, and someone, another painter from up there, was supposed to pick us up, but he didn't come all night. So we were just in the parking lot of this bus station, locked out of the depot, deserted, freezing through the whole night. And in the morning we got a bus the rest of the way. It was like being on a camping trip in the Arctic without any provisions. We'd pass around the ugly coffee from the machine outside. We got cold and hungry and angry, and people's tempers flared. But he sort of held it all together. His name was Paul. She was Jill. They fought a lot that night. But hell, it was cold and awful. He was gregarious, but sort of opaque, at least to me. I couldn't figure out anything about him, really. He wasn't interesting, he wasn't real intelligent, and then suddenly, mentally, he'd be right on top of you, staring past your eyes into you, and he'd see whatever he saw and move on. He had a cold streak right down the middle of him. He wasn't someone you wanted to get close with, and at the same time, he held you on his margin. He kept you in sight. He had this sort of peripheral vision, so he always knew where you were and what you needed. He kept you as near as he wanted you. He had a strong will, and a lot of insistence that you were going to be in his scout troop sitting around the fire toasting marshmallows. He had opinions on everything, including who took too many drugs and who was really gay. We got to New Hampshire, and there was this big house a woman built with a tree right up in the center of it, going out through the roof, and all the walls were windows. And it was in the middle of the woods. And I never saw anything so imposing, so grand. It wasn't rich so much as handsome from hard work and talent. The two women who lived there had built it themselves. One was a painter, one a filmmaker. And it was real beautiful. And there was a lot of people around. Then the food came, a real Thanksgiving with everything, including things I never saw before. And I don't know what they were. It was just beyond anything I had ever seen. It was warm and fine. And it was just people saying this and that. I'd been away a long time. I didn't know what mostly they were talking about. Someone tried to explain who Archie Bunker was to me, but I couldn't understand what was funny about it or how such a thing could be on television, and I don't like jokes against faggots. I sat quiet and drank slowly all I wanted, day and night. We all bunked down in different parts of the huge room. I made love with a real young guy who reminded me of a girl I used to know, and some woman too who I liked. Then somehow this guy Paul got us all back to New York. He had been in the loft bed with Jill. It was the only real bed. It was private because it was so high up and behind the structural beam. They just kept fighting all night. So he was aggravated and he was angry and everybody else made love. And he said the noise kept him up. So he wanted to leave, and it was follow the leader. It was a nice Thanksgiving, a real one, in a way. As if I lived here, on this earth, in ways that were congenial to me. The people had furniture and books and music and food and a big fire, and they talked about all sorts of things, books, music, everyday things. And the filmmaker showed her film. I got back to New York, slept where I could, mostly on floors. It could get harrowing. I would get pretty tired. I wasn't really understanding how to put an end to it. I just felt perpetually exhausted and stupid. I didn't see how you get to be one of the people who seem to be plugged in. Food, money, apartment, that stuff. I'd get warm in the bars with the painters. I'd go downtown and they'd be there and we'd drink. Sometimes one of the guys would hit on me, but mostly I said no. I didn't like painters. They seemed very cold to me, the men. And the women were all tormented, like Jill. Talked about the men all the time, suffered, drank. I don't know. I made love with some of the women, but they were just sort of servants to the men, drunk, servile. I fucked some of the men, but they were so self-involved, so completely cold, in love with themselves, so used to being mean to whoever was with them. Put the shit on a canvas and they make it thick or thin and it's blobs or it's something. And then they're known for doing that, and then they just do it over and over, and then they're very crass in bed. Just fucking machines. I never knew men who just wanted to fuck, and that's it. I mean, you couldn't even say it was a power trip because it was too cold and too narrow for that. Greedy. Cold. They really should have just masturbated, but they wanted to do it in a girl. Paul kept making social events, and he and Jill invited me. Then New York came, and Paul had me do this big dinner. Jill too, but it was in his loft, his building, I guess. I couldn't really grasp that part of it. I was afraid to go, but he said it would be fine, and I didn't have to do anything or say anything. I didn't believe it, because usually I had to cook or clean or something. But it was true, because this was some elegant sit-down dinner, and there were people serving dinner, and he hadn't cooked it, but someone, some real cook, had. It was New Year's Eve. It made me feel special to be there, even though I was scared. I felt like someone. Not someone famous or someone rich, just someone who could be somewhere inside with people and nice things. I felt warm. And in the midst of grace and abundance, it made me feel that there were people in the world who were vibrant, who talked, who laughed. It was not just some place to be. It was a fine place. I was almost shaking to see it, the table, the candles, the china, the silverware, vigorous, jubilant people, warm and ruddy, and with this physical vitality that almost bounced off the walls. I was so lonely that winter. I came back in November 1972, all broke down. It was a bitter, cold winter. I went to Paul's loft on New Year's Eve for dinner, a formal dinner. Except no one was dressed formal or acted formal. It was shimmering. It was dazzling. There were plates and beautiful glasses, and there was food after food, all cooked, all served. First one thing, then another, then another. It went on and on and on. It was like 100 meals all at once, and no one seemed to find anything surprising. Like, I did. I was like a little child, I guess. I couldn't believe it was real. There were candles and music, but it was not just candles. The candle holders were so beautiful. Silver, crafted, antique, old. So old. I thought they must have come right from Jerusalem. There were about 20 people altogether. The men were mostly painters, mostly famous, pretty old. They talked and told jokes. The girls were painters too, but they didn't say much, except for one or two who talked sometimes. And they were real young, mostly. There was a man and a girl, and a man and a girl, all around the table. There were all these wines, and all these famous men asking you if you wanted more. You had the feeling you could ask for anything. And these great men, one or all of them, would turn heaven and earth to get it for you. I was shy. I didn't know what to say. I certainly was no great artist yet, and I wanted to keep my dreams private in my heart. I said I was writing stories. I said I was against the war. The men said, one by one, that you can't be political and an artist at the same time. But they didn't argue or get mad at me. It was more like how you would correct a child who had made an embarrassing mistake. One of them took me aside and asked me if I remembered him. He looked so familiar, as if I should reach out and touch his face. I said, hadn't we seen a movie together once? He said we had made love. And I was on mescaline, and I hadn't liked it, and didn't I remember him? He was real nice about it. And I said, oh, yes, of course. And it was nice. And there were a lot of colors. He didn't seem to get mad. I smiled all night, because I was nearly awed. The men had this vitality. They were sort of glowing. I never knew such a thing could happen. You listen to them because it might say something about art. One talked to me about death. He was a real famous painter. He said that both him and me were artists. He said artists were the only people who faced death without lying. He said that was the reason to make love. Because you had to look death in the face. And then you defied it. He said the others didn't understand. But he did. And I did. So would I come with him? And I laughed. I didn't go with him, but I laughed. He made me happy. I laughed. I felt it was such beautiful bullshit. And I laughed. I thought it was a real nice thing for him to say. It was a new year. I was drinking champagne. I wasn't alone. I wasn't outside. I was safe. It was so much. beauty and life and gracious ease. It was so surprising, so completely wonderful and new. It was glittering and sparkling. It was small and warm. It was new and scary and exciting and real fine. I started having this dream over and over. It was New York. Streets I knew, usually down in the village around Washington Square, sometimes on Fifth Avenue above the square. It was very dark. The dark was almost a person, a character in the dream. The dark had a kind of depth, almost a smell, and it was scary and dense, and it was over everything. You almost couldn't see anything through it. The dream was somewhere in the village, sometimes near those big impersonal buildings on Fifth Avenue. But even if it's deeper in the village, the buildings are stone, big, impersonal, not houses or brownstones of the village, but the impersonal Fifth Avenue buildings, the cold, rich city made of cold stone. Somehow, I go into one, and it opens to this huge feast, this giant party in this giant ballroom. Physically, it's almost underground, as if you are going down inside the ground. But there is this grand ballroom, and the women have gowns and jewels, and the men are shiny and pretty in black suits and ruffled silks shirts, but no one makes me leave. At first I'm afraid, but no one makes me leave. There's lots of noise, and there's music, and there's food, all sorts of weird kinds of food, cocktail food, real food, and drinks, and it's warm and friendly, and in the dream I say yes. I've been here before. It's waiting, it's always here, it's just a part of New York, and you don't ever have to be afraid. Hidden away, there's always something like this. You just have to find it. And it fades. The dream fades, and I wake up feeling flushed and tired and happy, and I think it's out there. If only I can remember where it is, and it's not until I'm out on the streets that I understand I just dreamed it. It wasn't really there. Not just last night, but ever. But I still think New York is full of such places, only I don't know where they are. But after New Year, it was just colder and harder. Not a lot of magic in the world. No beautiful fairy godmother to wave her wand so you can stop sifting through the ashes and go to the ball. I slept outside the kitchen in my old friend's apartment. I wrote stories, slow, real slow, over and over, a sentence again and again. I did peace stuff against the war. I got food from bars, mostly. You go during happy hour, and you only need one drink. You can get a man to get it for you, or if you have the change, you can do it. And then there's warm food, and you can eat. And they make it real fatty, usually, but it's good, heavy and warm, and they bring out more and more until happy hour's over. I met an actor and his wife, and she took me everywhere, all around. Sometime I move into the loonies room with the carnivorous plants, and I wrote stories, slow, real slow, word by word, then starting over. I had nothing, and I was nothing, and I couldn't tell no one how I was hurt from being married, and I kept drinking with the painters. I liked the noisy bars and the people all excited with drinking and art and all the love affairs going on all around with all the torment, because it wasn't my torment. It didn't come near my torment. It was distracting, a kind of static that interrupted the pain I was carrying. I got the peace group to give me $75 a week, and I worked every morning for them, making phone calls, writing leaflets, mimeographing, typing, doing shit. I said I was a writer if someone asked. I worked on my stories, slow. I stayed alive as best I could. I waited through long nights, I waited. Now it's bitter cold night. Unusual in New York, with the temperature under zero, with the wind blowing about 15 miles an hour, trying to kill you, cutting you in half and then in half again. You can't understand it. There's nothing to keep it from running through you like a knife. I'm in my little room, the loonies room. I'm staying calm. I don't like being alone. It's hard. But I'm thinking I'm okay. I'm inside. I'm okay. I'm thinking I will take out my notebook and work. Sit with the words, make sentences, cross words out. You hear kind of music in your head and you transpose it into words, but the words sit there, block letters, just words, they don't sing back. So you have to keep making them better until they do, until they sing back to you. You look at it and it moves like a song. You hear it moving, there's buzz in it, and the buzz is music, not noise. It can be percussive, but it's still lyrical, it sings. It's a delicate thing, knowing when it's right. At the same time, it's like being in first grade where you had to write the words down careful in block letters and you had to make them perfect because you keep trying like some 6-year-old to make the words perfect so they look back at you and they are right, as if there's this one right way and it sits there pure and clear when you're smart enough finally to put it on the page in front of you. I always want to run away from it, putting the words down because they're always wrong at first and for a long time they stay wrong. But now the cold night keeps me in, the wind, the killer wind. I sit on the cot, I move my papers to the tiny table, I get out a pencil, and I find some empty paper, and I start again. I begin again. I have started again, over and over. And tonight I start again. And I hear the words in my heart. I came back with 2 laundry bags. Like canvas shopping bags, I carried them on the plane. They were my laundry bags from when I was a housewife. One has manuscripts and a couple of books. The other has a sweater and some underwear and a pair of pants. I don't have anything else except a fairly ragged skirt that I'm wearing. I made it myself with some cheap cloth. It has clumps and bulges, and I've got a couple t-shirts. I think the manuscripts are precious. I think you can do anything if you must. I think I can write some stories, and I think it doesn't matter how hard it is. I'm usually pretty tired by night, but the nights are long, and if you can write, the time isn't the same kind of burden. The words, like oxen, pull the dark faster through time. I think it is good to write. I think perhaps someday I might write something beautiful like Death in Venice, something just that lovely and perfect. I think it would be worth a person's whole life to write one such thing. I have an invitation to go to Jill's art opening. Her first show ever. It's a big event for her. Girls don't get to have shows very easy, and some people say it's because of Paul. She's resentful of him. I tell her it doesn't matter, one way or another. The point is to do it. Just do it. I feel I should go, but I don't have clothes warm enough for this particular night. I walk everywhere because I don't have money for subways. I walk long distances. I took my husband's warm coat when I left. It's the least you can give me, I said. He was surprised enough when I grabbed it that he didn't take it away. It's a sheepskin coat from Afghanistan, but he doesn't have any buttons, so you can't stay warm in bad wind. It's heavy and stiff, and it doesn't close right, and if there's bad wind, it rips through the opening. I was running away, and I wanted the warm coat. I knew it would last longer than money. I was thinking about the streets. I was remembering. And he gave me some money, too. Took some change out of his pocket, some bills he was carrying, handed it to me, said, "Yeah, take this, too." It was maybe what you'd spend on a cheap dinner. I wanted his coat. I was leaving. And there was my coat. And I thought about having to go through one fucking night in my coat. A lady's coat. My wife coat. Tailored. Pretty. Gray. With style. And a little phony fur collar. A waist. It had a waist. It showed off that you had breasts, and I thought, shit. I won't live through one night in that piece of shit. I thought, I better have a real coat. I thought, the bastard has a real coat, and yes, I will risk my life to get it, and so I grabbed at it, and at first he didn't want to let me have it, but I said, shit boy, it's a real cheap way to end a marriage, and he could have smashed me. But he didn't, because he wanted me out. And he looked at me and said, yeah, take it. And you don't wait a second. You grab it, you get out. I never was sorry I took it. I slept on it, I slept under it, I wrapped it around me like it was my real skin, my shelter, my house, my home. I didn't need to buy other stuff for staying warm. I wore a cheap t-shirt under it, nothing else. I didn't have to worry about clothes or nothing like that. But tonight's too cold for it. There's nights like that. Wind too bad, too strong, no respite. Tonight's too cold, I think. I'm going to sit still. Sit quiet and calm inside in a room, in this quiet room. Work on my story, cross out, put new words down, try to make it sing for me. For me now, here and now. In my head now. They say man was a bourgeois writer. I never saw it myself. I think he was outside them, and I wondered how he knew when it was beautiful enough, and when it was right. It seemed you had to have this calm. You had to be still. I think it's this funny thing inside, and I'm just getting close to this way of listening. You can sort of vaguely hear something. You have to concentrate and get real still, but then you hear this thin thread of something inside, and the words ride on it right. Or they don't. But if you get the words perfect, they're just right on that thread, balanced just right. I can really do it. Though, I can't really do it though, because I'm always tired, and I'm always afraid. I shake. I can't quiet down enough. The fear is new. I wasn't some frightened girl. I'm afraid to sit still. I'm afraid to be alone. I'm afraid when it's quiet. Anytime I remember, I'm afraid. Anytime I dream, I'm afraid. Anytime I have to sit still, alone, I'm afraid. I just got this shake in me, this terror. It's like the room ain't empty, except it's hollow. Worse than empty, like some sort of tunnel in hell. All dark with nothing, a perfect void. I'm part of the void, and the air I'm breathing is part of it, and the walls of the room are the tunnel, and I'm trapped in nothing so damn real it's fixed forever. I shake bad when I'm alone. I work on the stories, barely able to hold the pencil in my hand. I don't have no dope to calm me down. The shake gets less if I smoke some dope, even a small joint. Mentally, I concentrate on calming myself down so the shake's inside, but I ain't trembling so bad in my body, and I'm more normal. So I sit, for as long as I can, writing words down and saying the sentences out loud to myself, and then I start speeding up inside with fear, and there's no reason. And so I have to start calming myself all over again. I concentrate on it until I'm sitting still, not shaking. Then he just came right inside. The door opened and he was in. I heard the locks unlocking, New York locks, real locks. I heard the cylinders turning, but I didn't grasp it. It was just a noise. I couldn't associate with anything, and the door opened before I could register the sound, and he's there, the guy's there. Short, dark, wiry, sort of bent from rage, kind of twisted anger in his muscles. He's tied in knots, and it twists him all up, and he's raging all over the apartment, touching things and screaming, and it's him. They told me he was locked up. It's the guy. Paranoid schizophrenic, they said. A very smart guy, they said, but out of control, locked up. Smart, they said. A very smart guy, but really fucked up in the head. Hears things, sees things. Paranoid, has delusions, and the landlady's not here, so there's no one here to calm him down who knows him or how to say who I am. And he's screaming, and I'm saying who I am, and saying the names of the landlady and the neighbors, and saying, oh, they didn't know he's back, and I was just here for this second, a few hours, a day. I was just leaving just now, and he's screaming, and he's hitting the table. He's suddenly silent and staring. He's between me and my stuff. And I say, I'll be back for it. And he shouldn't worry at all, and it's okay. And of course it's his place, and I haven't touched a thing, and I'm trying to get my coat, but he's in the way, and he's between me and my laundry bags and me and my papers. I grab the coat in a fast jump and swoop, and I say the landlady will come back for my stuff, or he can put it outside, and he's standing there rigid, and I run. I have the coat. I keep talking. I get out of the apartment, out of the building, down the steps, into the hall, down the stoop, out. And I've got keys to my old friend's apartment, my old peace friend, for the sofa outside the kitchen. She got me the loonies room, and she said to come back anytime, so I turned to her. I'm pretty scared, and I'm shaking, and I'm running, and I don't know if he's calling the police because there's no one in the building to say who I am, or that they said I could stay there, and I'm running to my old friend's place, and it's a bitter, cold night, with the wind at about 15 miles an hour, under zero. The streets are deserted. They are bare, and I think, well, okay, I'm safe. I got out. Anybody'd be shaking. I took everyone's word that he wouldn't be back without enough warning. I relaxed. I took things out of my laundry bags. There were a couple of months nearly. I mean, I would never completely relax and I never completely unpack, and I wasn't asleep, thank God. But now I have to figure out where to go. And I run to my old friend's apartment and I have the keys in my hand, but I knock first because maybe she's there and maybe she's inside, and she asks who it is. And I say, I'm me. And I say what happened, that the guy came back, showed up, opened the door, was in, and I ran. And I needed a place to sleep tonight, and it's freezing out there. And she says there's someone with her, and she doesn't want me to come in because he's with her. And I say, okay, fine, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's okay, yeah, okay. Because you don't press yourself on someone. Even if they told you always come to them, and they give you keys, they have the freedom. And if they say no, then you ain't wanted there. And I think about saying to her, you have to do this, because I have nowhere to go, and nothing, and I will die out there. This ain't no joke. Tonight's a dying night, but you can't push yourself on someone, and I figure she knows that anyway. And you can't count on no one. They will let you die, and that's just the truth. And she can't even open the door to see my face or pass me money. She keeps it locked. And I hear her fasten the chain. And I'm in the hall of her building. And I think I can go to Jill's art opening. It's all I can think of. A bar is more uncertain, more dangerous. And I can spend at least a few hours there inside, and there's people there I know. And I can find a place to sleep maybe on someone's floor. I don't want to fuck anyone. I just know I don't. But maybe I can find somewhere. I got only a couple of dollars. And it don't last long. And you can't stay warm through a whole night on it. And I don't know anything past I have to find a place to sleep tonight to get out of the cold. And I will worry about the rest tomorrow. Where to go and what to do, I will think about it tomorrow. And I say to myself that I ain't scared. And so what? And this is nothing. Absolutely nothing. Piece of cake. No problem. I'll just go, and I'll have a drink, or something, at the opening, and I'll ask around, and the art opening will last maybe until 2 a.m., and then there's only 4 hours, or maybe 5 until dawn, 5 really, and I can do that. I can do it. If I think 4 hours, I think I can do it, and then after it's only a little more time, and there'll be light. I can do it. It ain't new, and I can do it. I probably can find somewhere to sleep. And if I have to fuck, I will, but I don't want to. But so what if I do? But I won't. I can last through tonight. I'm walking in the wind. It's like swimming in the ocean against a deep and deadly tide. I'm walking down to Soho. The streets are bare and the wind is cruel, just fucking brutal, cruel. I get about half a block at a time. Try to find a doorway, warm up, walk as much more as I can stand. The wind just freezes you, your chest, your blood, your bones. It fucking hurts. In some moderate pain. It's desperate, like some anguish possessing you. Soho's industrial lofts and galleries and a couple bars. There's long streets with nowhere to go. It's as if the doorways disappeared because the buildings are industrial buildings and there's elevators you have to use to get inside. Not normal doors like painters living there are illegal. And there are no shops or stores to step into, and Jill's gallery is way downtown near Canal Street, a long walk. And the cold's hurting me. And I'm afraid. My mind is rocking back and forth from I can find someone, and if I have to, I'll fuck them, even no matter what, and I can make it from 2 to 6. If I have to, I can. There's no bums out. There's no whores. Everyone's folded inside some crease somewhere, and anyone who ain't might not live until the morning. There's nights like that. And I get there, and I take the warehouse elevator up, and it's white. It's a huge warehouse room painted a glossy white. And there's all these people dressed in real clothes, you know, outfits for style. And the woman's all acting nice and flirty with the men, and it's warm, and the men's all acting smart and polite and civilized, and there's wine white wine, and there's Stoli, and bourbon, and ice, and there's cheese, and some little pieces of food, some little sandwiches, tender little things you can eat in one bite. You'd be hard pressed to take two, those funny little sandwiches that are always wet and sort of wilted. And the room's so shiny and white, big, the people almost disappear, and the ceiling's so high you feel like a little ant. And it seems the people are sparse, though there's a lot of them. And they don't look like the wind got to them, but rather they're all polished up, all shined, and there's paintings on the walls. Jill's paintings. And in the middle of the room, there's Jill. She's not looking all polished up. She's sort of gray and miserable. And I say hi. And I congratulate her, and she's mad and sad. And I say, well, it's a big deal, really. Your nerves are bound to get frayed, aren't they? And she gets darker and stranger. And Paul comes over, and she glowers. And he says some pleasant things. And she and he seem to agree that the paintings are on the wall. The people are in the room, and there's a certain amount of tension over this. And Paul's saying normal things like, hey, have something to drink, and there's food, take some, or have some. And I'm saying some sort of foolish things people say about paintings. Are they strong? Are they interesting? Haven't they grown? Don't they dominate the room? And it works kind of like Valium because Jill evens out. And there's this small smile out of the side of her mouth, at least. And I think I should just walk around and see about finding someone I can ask for a place to sleep. And I walk around and I have one drink to warm up because I can't drink. Because I don't know what the rest of the night will be. And relaxing isn't in the picture until there's shelter. And I have a wet sandwich. And I chat with this woman and this man, and they're mostly painters, and they really all want to say something about the relationship, Paul and Jill, not the paintings. So there's this catty, gossipy quality to everything. And also, it's all secretive because no one wants to be accidentally overheard by Jill or Paul. And while Jill is staying in one place, dead center in the middle of the room, just standing there by a particularly big painting, Paul is all over, behind people, in conversations, introducing people, the real host, the scout leader. And he chats with me a while too, but I'm scared because I know this will end. And real life will come back. I know the trick's not to look desperate. I know the trick's to seem as if there's nothing wrong. Why, hello. Do you need to sleep on someone's floor if nothing's wrong? Fuck. Why the hell do you need to sleep on someone's floor if nothing's wrong? I can't think of any plausible reason, but I figure it's not rational as such, reasons. It's attitude. You have to have a kind of calm, and as if it's just normal, so no one thinks they have to give you anything or care for you. So I make myself steady, and I think this is normal. And I ain't so scared as I actually am, and I think, well, Jill knows everyone here, and she's my friend, so I'll ask her. And I take her aside, meaning just a little off her mark. And I say, I need a place to sleep. Is there anyone here who might put me up just for one night? And she says she'll think about it. And I smile as active as if it's okay one way or another, and I drift off, and more time passes. And I'm drinking soda and thinking, every second thinking, my heart beating too fast in fear. But outside I'm calm and simple, and Jill comes up and says, listen, I'm going home with Paul, so why don't you stay at my loft? And I say, that's great. Because it is. And I am fucking happy. I think even it will be nice. It's a big place. It's sort of dark, but it's fine, with a bed on a kind of platform, a mattress, really, it's really nice, so I'm at ease. I mean, I'm really happy. And I pour myself a stiff drink, a real fine drink. And I'm chatting away like a real person, I can't emphasize enough how my heart slows down, and how my blood stops racing, and how inside my head calms down and I'm just a person. Not so shiny as the others, but not scared, more like a happy girl of the regular kind. And then once the adrenaline has subsided altogether, I feel how tired I am. I feel how it's worn me out. I feel how cold I got, and how I'm just dragged out and enervated, weary, and it's midnight by now. I've been at the opening a long time, and I think it's decent to leave. So I go to Jill, and she and Paul are holding hands, and they're looking happy, and I'm glad there's a truce. And I ask if I could go to her loft now, and she's upset or confused or something, and my heart sinks. But he says, look, I'm going to stay at Jill's loft with her. It's just easier, so why don't you go to my place? It's empty, there's no problem. I'll give you the keys, okay? I say things like, I don't want to put you out, and are you sure it's okay? And he says what is obvious. I ain't putting him out, because it's a big night for Jill, and he's staying with her, at her place, because it's just better for her that way. And I say, fine. And everyone says fine. And he's going to give me the keys and directions, because I'm not sure where it is from here. And I'm waiting for him to come tell me these things. He said he'd write them down. And fatigue is dragging me down. And I get my coat, and he comes and he says, hell, I'll just walk you there. It's no big deal. Jill's going to be here for a couple of hours yet. I'll walk you and come back. It's just a few blocks away. And I was glad, because I didn't want to get lost. And I didn't know it around here so good, and late at night the streets are a little scary down here, and it's not a regular neighborhood. And the wind has made the streets bare and menacing, as if it's blowing dark shadows at your face to smother you, and we go out. And it's colder than before. And you were turned half to ice, and the streets are empty. Just this naked cement with tides of wind sweeping over it like a sandstorm in the desert. And he says, shit, let's get a drink. And we step into a bar. We fucking dive into it, grateful it's there. We're at the bar, and I'm drinking my Stoli straight up, and I don't have no money. And I say so because I'm planning to pay half, because that's fair. And also I don't want wrong ideas communicated or to take advantage, because he's a famous painter. And he says, shit, it doesn't matter. It's so fucking cold, we won't make it if we don't take care of ourselves. Speaking of. Oh my goodness. Let's forget. If we don't take care of ourselves, and we talk about Hemingway or something, and we take off again, and we get a little further, and there's another bar, and we dive in, grateful, and we sit at the bar, and there's another Stoli in front of me, and we're talking about some actor he knows who's shooting cocaine, and he says it's a tragedy, and I'm thinking, yeah, it is. And I'm saying, Jill will worry, and he's saying there's plenty of time. And I'm saying we should just brave it and walk to his place, and he's saying it's Jill's opening, and she's the center of attention, and that's how it should be, and it's good for her. She needs to stand more on her own, and he's proud of her, and it'll be fine. And there's another Stoli, and another bar, and another, and he's putting down $10 bills for the bartender. And I see the vodka in front of me, and I drink it. And we talk about Hemingway, and Ginsberg, and Whitman, and we duck into another bar. And it's almost empty. They all are. The weather makes everything deserted and quiet, and we seem like the only people on Earth, really. And the streets get darker, and the wind gets colder, and the Stoli goes down smoother, easier, faster, and he unrolls the bills faster, easier, more. And I'm saying, shit, I'm tired, and I'm telling him my sad story of this night, and how I didn't have anywhere to go, and how I don't have no money, and how things are, and he's concerned, he's listening. I'm saying how frightened I was, and he's taking it all in. And shit, I can drink like any man, you know what I mean? I can drink. I don't fold, I say I can out-drink him. And he don't think so. But I fucking do, because he stops. But he keeps ordering them for me. And I know I'm going to be crashing soon, so I'm not concerned, and there's nothing I have to do but sleep alone, warm inside, and we get to his place, and I ask for his keys, and he says he'll open it because it's hard. And he opens it. It's a lot of locks. It's locks that slip and slide and look like they have jaws, and they move and slide and spring and jump, and the door finally gets open. And he says he'll take me up, and inside the door there's steps. But first he locks the locks from inside. He locks them with his keys. And he says, see, this is how you do it when you come in. Don't forget now. And he pockets the keys. And I think I have to remember to get them, so when he leaves I'll be able to lock the door behind him. It's unfamiliar to me and I don't want to forget. And then there's the steps. These huge wooden steps, these towering flights, these creaky knotted steps, these splintery steps. There's maybe 100 of them. It's so high up you can't see the top. So you go up the first 20 or something and there's this big empty room, more like a baseball field. It's not like an apartment building where there's other people on the first landing. There's no one there. And it's empty. And there's another 20 or 30 steps. And it's knottier and there's holes in the middle of the steps. And you're trying to get up them without looking like a fool or falling, and there's another floor. It's like some cavernous room with canvases and boxes, and it's brown, all brown, stretched canvases and paintings wrapped in brown paper for shipping, and huge standing spirals of brown twine like statues, and brown masking tape, and these vast rolls of heavy brown tape, the kind of tape that you have to wet and use it to reinforce heavy boxes. And there's brown boxes, cartons unfolded and folded, and there's brown crates. It's a kind of dead brown room. The air is brown. Not just dark, but brown, as if it's colored brown, as if the air itself is brown. And the walls and the floor and everything in it is dull brown, and it's not a room in the normal sense, in the human sense. It's more like an airstrip. And you keep climbing. And there's this next floor, it's like a big, like a fucking commercial garage or something. It's completely covered in paint. Oil paint. You could park 100 cars in it, but the whole floor is thick with dried red paint. Oil paint or acrylics, you know, like the blob's all dead and it died here. The paint's fucking deep on the floor. It's shocking pinks and royal blues and yellows so bright they hurt your eyes. I don't mean the floor is painted like someone put paint on a brush and used a brush to paint a floor or a wall or something. It's more like the paint is spilled on gallon after gallon, heaps and heaps of it. It's inches or feet thick. It dries hard and sticky. You walk on it with trepidation thinking you will sink. But it's firm. It gives a little. But it's firm. It's dry. It's like an artist's palette like you see in the movies, but it's a whole real floor of a room as big as a city block, and you walk on it like you're outside in the hills walking on real ground. It's uneven, and it's been wet, and you sink in some places, or at least expect to, and the earth's higher and lower by inches, and you got boots to help you find your footing. Your feet sink in, but not really. The ground just gives a little, and it ain't even. And you don't fall, but your footing ain't sure. But it's paint, not earth. Paint. It must be 1,000,000 paint stores all emptied out on the floor. And then rising from the paint, from the thick, dried, uneven, shocking paint, there's canvases. And there's paint on them. Beautiful paint. Measured. Delicate by contrast, aesthetic, organized into colors and shapes that have to do with each other. They touch. You see right away that there is meaning in their touch. There's something in it. It's not random. It's too fine, almost emotionally austere. Your heart sort of skips a beat. Austere. Your heart sort of skips a beat to see how intelligent the paint is. You look up from the chaos of the paint on the floor to the delicacy of the paint on the canvas, and I at least almost want to cry. I feel such sorrow for how frail we are. I had just never seen it so clear how art is about mortality, finding one thin strain of significance, a line of sorrow, a thread of meaning, an idea against death, an assertion with color or shape as if you could draw a perfect line to stand against it, so it would break death's heart or something. I can see why he wanted to walk me through this, because his painting's precious to his soul. You wouldn't want some stranger rooting around in it or even touching it. You have to go through the whole room, the whole distance of it, its full length, to get to the stairs that take you to the top floor where he lives. I keep being afraid I'll sink in the paint, but I just get to the stairs and they're normal, just wood stairs, even sanded, finished with a banister, and I climb up after him. It was different New Year's Eve, soft and glowing, with grand tables and linen and crystal. Now it's pretty empty. Big. Vast, really. There's a big blow heater hanging from the ceiling and he turns it on and it blows hot air out at you. It's like being in a hot wind. It dries the air out. It's musky, lukewarm, smelly draft. And he puts it on higher, and it's like being in a hot wind, warm but unpleasant, an awful August day, with a wind so steady and stale the air pushes past you, old air, used already. At one end of the huge room is a single wood chair. At the other end is a sort of kitchen, a sink, running water, a refrigerator, and in front there's a kitchen counter, and in front of that there's a single bed to sleep on, a sort of sofa maybe, flat, no headboard, no cushions, no back, nondescript, covered with cloth. It's a couch or an old mattress on springs or something, way in the back to the left of the kitchen, hard to see, extending behind the kitchen, but you can't really see how far. There's a kind of cage. It's chicken wire. It goes from the floor to the ceiling, and there's a double bed behind the chicken wire. And I ask what it is, and he says he sleeps there with girls. Some girls like it. It's his bedroom. He's got cuffs for it that fasten to the chicken wire, but it's got nothing to do with me. I can sleep on the sofa. And I'm feeling a chill. My blood goes cold, and I feel a certain fear I can't define, and do not want to think about. And I've tried to shake him all night. But there's the fact that he's sort of stuck on. I can't shake him loose, and I'm feeling like I've been traveling a long time in a foreign place. The land's strange. The natives are strange. It's been a long way up the mountain, and you don't know if the way down's booby-trapped, and the sidewalks are roads of windswept death. They're not harboring no lost souls tonight. You ain't going to make it some hours out there. I'm fucking blind drunk. Asshole drunk. Dumb bitch drunk. And I'm figuring he's Jill's lover, who's got to be back because it's her opening night. And he'll go back soon. It's just a matter of time. And I don't look at the cage. Like he said, it's got nothing to do with me, and I try not to think about the cuffs, and I stay away on the other side of the place near the single wood chair. My solace. My home. The place I pick out where I'm just staying as long as he's here, and I can sit here the whole night, just sit. And he says, hey, it's no problem. You sleep on the sofa here, see? And he makes me some tea. And we take the tea downstairs to where the paintings are, and I think this is the right direction. At least he's on his way out, and he shows me the paintings, one by one. He shows them to me. It's sort of amazing. It's like being scraped up off the street and suddenly in the Museum of Modern Arts, open to you. A special honored guest, he shows them to me one by one, and I'm pretty awed. Pretty quiet, except he asks me questions. What do I think of this? What do I think of this? And I try to say something. I say things about poems they remind me of, because I don't know how to say things about paintings. And there's one a little different. It's an emotional upheaval, not intellectual like most of the others. And I like it a lot. It's brazen and aggressive and real romantic. And I say so, and he says, well, It's named after me then, and I think it's probably because he's drunk and he'll change it back tomorrow, but tonight it's named for me. Andy, he calls it. A nickname I hate. I say I'll lock him out, and he says he's going to call Jill and say he's on his way, and we walk upstairs and I sit on a single wood chair because he doesn't go near any phone, which I don't even know where it is. I sit on the wood chair and I dig my nails into it, and he pours another drink, and I'm saying I've had enough. But once it's in my hands, I'm nervous, so I drink it. And it's pretty much like I'm submerged in a tank of alcohol. The fumes are drowning out any air. I'm close to asphyxiation. I sit real still in the chair. I look down. I down the drink like it's water. I hold on to the chair for dear life. I see the chicken wire and it scares me. I think about outside and it scares me, and he's just standing there real benign. And there's not a hint of sex. There's not a spark I can see. It's Jill's art opening. He's her lover. And these facts have only one outcome, which is he's going to her now or soon. And I just have to sit here still until he does. And I ask where Jill sleeps, and he says behind the chicken wire. And I feel out of my fucking mind. I feel insane. And he's totally level. And his eyes change. And I never looked at his eyes before. But now they're cold. They're real cold. They have a steel quality. You might say they are mean, and you might say they are cruel, and you might say they have my blood smeared on them. And he's saying, he says he just wants me to sit next to him on the single bed just for a minute, just sit there next to him, and I'm some fallen down drunk stupid bitch, but I am not going near him. I am sitting on the chair. I have got my fingernails dug in, and he's saying totally level, totally calm, you can leave if you want. Quiet voice he has. You can just leave. Quiet voice, soft voice, cold eyes, not brown, yellow eyes, ochre eyes, dirty yellow eyes, quiet voice. You can leave, or you can just come here and sit with me. Sit next to me just for a minute, or you can leave, or you can leave, or you can sit here next to me, or you can leave. And I thought, can I? The door's locked from inside. You can't stay on the streets. The bars are closed. There's no strangers outside you can find, even if you was going to risk it, and you can barely put one foot in front of the other. Everything in front of your eyes is streaked and moving. Everything's got a trail like a comet racing through the sky. Everything's a shiny streak whirling past you, and you are standing still unless you are falling. You fall and stop, and he's saying you can leave. And you're wondering if he'd let you anyway. Because finally it occurs to you, he is more than a liar. Or why would he be so calm? He's so quiet. Quiet voice, you can leave. Or come right here. Sit near me, just near me. And then there's whatever is past the fucking sunset, ocean pounds the shore or something. There's a hurricane, many die, it breaks apart the beach, shacks, houses, stone walls, they're wrecked. Atlanta burns, metaphor. I'd rather talk in metaphor than say the things he did. God made metaphor for girls like me, Life is nasty, short, brutish, short. You can be snuffed out. It's so fast, so mean, so easy. Someone's eyes go cold, they go mean. They say, sit near me, and you say no. And they say, sit near me, and you say no. And they say, sit near me, and you say no. And it's like a boy and a girl and some courtly dance, except he is saying, you can leave. a death threat, you can leave. With his cold eyes gleaming, a devil's yellow from the meanness of it, a dirty yellow, as if his eyeballs changed from brown to some supernatural ochre. He puts his hands on my shoulders, and his hands are strong. And I give up. I do. I stay still. And my body dies as much as it can. Hate distilled. A perfect hate, expressed in a perfect physical passivity. A perfect attentiveness to dying. He's going to say I'm a bad lay because I won't move, but I hate him, and I won't move. Just wait now. But he's different. He's saying things as if we are friends, or I know him or something. And this is my body, but it ain't. I say it ain't. I say it ain't. I say it ain't here, and it ain't mine. But time's real. Time is real. Time's real. There's a long time until dawn. There's a couple of hours until 6, and then there's maybe an hour after that until there's real light, sun. Sun coming down from the sky. Sun filtering down through the cold. Sun traveling down, heating up even a little. The streets stone cold, steel like daggers. The slab they lay you out on, my slab. A stone cold street and a girl who wants to live. Such a girl. A girl who fucking wants to live. Doesn't go out until dawn. Can't go out until dawn. Girls don't go out at night. Girls who want to live don't go out at night. You need light to go out. You need sun. You need daylight. You need it to be a little warmer. You need the edge off the cold. You need the wind warmed up a little. You need it pale out, not dark. You need it yellow or yellowish or even a flat silver or gray, a dull gray. You need it gray or grayish or a dirty white at least. You need it ash or pale blue as if it's got a wash over it, a watercolor wash, a greenish hue, or you need it to be pink, a pinkish color. You need a pink, a little warm, pinkish and warm. You need a light. You need a light that's fresh and new, wholesome, washed in a subtle pastel color, a pale hue. You need real light, honest light, well-established light, not half dark, not stained by dark, not transitory or illusory. You need a yellow from sun or even silver or gray. You need it heated up, cozy, as if someone lit a match and burned it up to heat up the air. You need the sun mixing with the wind, a touch of heat. You need it to be daytime if you are a girl, so you can be safe and warm. And at night, you have to stay inside so you won't get hurt, so you don't go out after dark. You stay inside at night. You don't be stupid and fuck up, or some stranger could hurt you. Some bad man, a Nazi or some ghoul. You go stay inside. And if there is a boy who likes you, he'll sit next to you. It's been light a long time. 2 hours, 3 hours. I watch the light come. It's slow at first, then it's sudden. It's pale today. A delicate yellow. A pale, cold tone. I'm a student of light and time. My eyes are swollen open, as if I saw something that fixed them in place, but I didn't see nothing special. I always wait with my eyes open. I had them open. I didn't close them. It doesn't help to close them. I waited for light, but he didn't stop just because there was light. Sometimes something's important to you, but it doesn't matter to someone else. But you don't know that. You don't understand it. I decide I'm never going to lie down again. I'm never going to lie down on my back. I'm going to sit, or I'm going to stand up always from now on. in alleys or in apartments or anywhere. And I move slowly, not to alarm him, not to stir him, not to call attention to myself. I try to move the way they tell you, with a book on your head, smooth and calm and quiet, firm and fast and sure, ladylike, self-abnegating, to disappear. I stared. I made myself move. I moved fast, quiet, which is why they teach you to walk with a book on your head. You walk quiet, with poise. You have a straight back. You take firm, quiet steps. I call Jill from a payphone. He's not the milk of human kindness, she says, and hangs up. I could use a drink. I gotta sleep before there's night. It comes fast in winter. You lose track, it's 10 a.m., and soon it will be 10:05. Soon. You have to count fast. Keep counting. To keep track. Gotta sleep. Can't lie down.